Welcome ASH members, Coach Derek back with Coach Zeke. Today's foundational health habit is going to be mindfulness, specifically eating slowly.
So guys, today's foundational health habit is actually so simple that you won't believe it, but it actually works. Eating slowly is more important than what you eat, when you eat, where you eat, and who you eat with. It's also more important than getting every single thing else perfect.
So here's the keys to this habit. First of all, you want to remove distractions. Put away your phone. Secondly is to pay attention. Pay attention to what you're eating, how you're feeling, and then who you're with as well. And then thirdly, this habit's going to help your body to do its job in 3 ways. First of all, it's going to improve your digestion. Second of all, it can help to reduce anxiety. And then thirdly, it can actually increase the satisfaction that you're going to feel from that meal just by being mindful and eating slowly.
So the main takeaway for you guys is that simply by eating slowly, you're actually going to feel more satisfied with less food. When we practice slowing down, we actually feel more satisfied with everything. Now, how do you do this? We're going to focus on the behaviors versus the outcomes. Now, behaviors are things that you do consistently and regularly. They're tasks that are within your control, and they're things that you can do today and going forwards. By focusing on your behaviors, the things that you can control, you're not so fixated on the outcomes, the things you don't control.
So the technique we want to use is called notice and name. Most human beings and people you know are going through their life on autopilot or doing things automatically. So they had a busy day, they get home, they grab the first thing they can out of the fridge, and they sit on the TV. But by at least drawing attention to that scenario, you can encourage yourself to maybe make a different choice. So notice, pause and pay attention. Who are you with? How are you feeling? What are you eating? And then name. Describe the situation in detail to yourself. The reason we want to do that is because by drawing awareness to the situation, you can start to create change in behavior over time.
Now let's talk about how you apply the healthy foundational habit of eating slowly. But before we get to that, remember that all of these foundational habits are meant to build upon each other. So you still have to make time. Make time to eat, make time for the goals and the things that you want. Now let's talk about mindfulness and eating slowly. You want to sit down and savor your food. Think about how it tastes, how it looks, how it smells. Be present and in the moment. And then lastly, we want to actually taste our food versus just mindlessly crunching away.
So one thing you can do to help this is to set a timer for 20 minutes. It takes about 20 minutes for your brain to get the signal that you're actually full. Other than that, try getting out of your car, sitting down at the table, turning off all your screens, your cell phone, your TV. You don't want to be bombarded by notifications while you're trying to enjoy your food and be present. Other than that, try having conversation with the people that you're eating with, set your utensils down in between bites, and maybe take a drink of water. In our society today, people are always rushing around and constantly busy, so you might find the application of these habits somewhat difficult, but over the course of time, you're going to get better and better at being mindful while you eat and eating slowly.
So let's think about the way that most people eat. They vacuum their food down, they don't think at all, they make the most convenient decision, and then after they're done eating, they feel way over full, they have gas, bloating, fatigue, and they generally just feel terrible.
So here's what the ASH members are going to do. We're going to be eating slowly and being mindful while we eat. We're not going to get that food coma feeling, and we're going to feel more satisfied with our meal and not have that regret or guilty feeling that we had. This is going to give us more energy to go out and do things with the rest of our day, and overall just get to a healthier body composition and maintain it over time.
So what does it mean to be a happier, healthier, fitter version of yourself? Well, we're going to actually tell you to do the opposite of what most people say. Go slow and make the movements easy. In today's society where there's larger portions and less movement, many people will say you only need to work out 3 times per week. But lean, healthy people actually tend to have daily healthy movements in their life. So today, Coach Zeke is going to show us some prime movement patterns, and we're going to show you how you can put those prime movement patterns together and create your own workout. Coach Zeke is going to show us an example of some of the prime movement patterns. Here he's got a horizontal push where he's elevated on a bench to make this a little bit easier. If that's too hard, you could elevate it even more. Now Zeke is going to show us a little bit harder variation where he goes down to the ground. He could make this even more difficult by doing a barbell or a dumbbell bench press. Now, if we look at Coach Zeke's form, he's controlling the movement all the way up, all the way down. His hips are tight, his back is tight, and his chin is tucked. Now Coach Zeke is gonna walk through an overhead pressing variation. He's gonna stagger his feet so he's got a firm base. He's gonna support himself with his left hand on his hip. Dumbbell's gonna come up to the shoulder, and he's gonna press directly overhead. Now Coach Zeke does this movement really well, but if there was any pain or he couldn't do it well, we would make a modification immediately. We don't want any movement that isn't pain-free. Now Coach Zeke is gonna show us a horizontal row variation. His left hand and his left knee are providing a lot of support, along with his right leg. Once he's all set up, chin is packed, spine is neutral, he's gonna row that dumbbell to his side, squeeze, and then control it all the way down. At no point is Zeke losing control of that weight. Everything is braced and in place, and this is a really good movement all the way up to the sternum, horizontal row. Okay guys, now Coach Zeke is gonna show us a vertical pulling variation. You could do this on a pull-down machine or as well as a regular pull-up. But what Coach Zeke is doing is driving his elbows back and thinking about pushing his chest up to his hands. He's not worrying so much about getting his chin above, but more so driving those elbows back while he's pushing his chest forwards. He's nice and stable, there's no swinging. His back muscles that are responsible for driving his elbows backwards are doing all of the work here. Coach Zeke is gonna show us the prime lower body movement patterns. So here he is doing a variation of the squat where his hips kick back, his weight goes into his heels, his chest is nice and big, and he's getting as much depth as he can here. Now Coach Zeke has a little bit of rounding of his lower back. So what I'm gonna have him do is elevate his heels, and we'll see if that goes away. By elevating the heels, you remove that lower body inhibition and you get a much better movement here. Now Coach Zeke could do this with a barbell on his back, a barbell on his chest, or he could do some variation of these goblet squats. Now Coach Zeke is gonna show us some variations of a hip hinge movement. Here we have a unilateral Romanian deadlift, where his upper back is nice and tight, his spine is completely engaged, and the muscles on the lower back side of his right leg are doing all the work. He can change this variation by picking up the dumbbells and going into a bilateral Romanian deadlift. Chin is tucked, spine is engaged and braced, and the muscles on the lower back side of his body, his butt, his hamstrings are doing the work here.
Thank you so much for checking out our foundational health habit. Our goal is that you would incorporate these habits into your daily life.
So remember, eat slowly, be mindful, and if you appreciate these Healthy Foundation segments brought to you by Alliance for Shared Health, that you tune in regularly to become a better, healthier, fitter version of yourself.